Hey guys, Jano0, how you doing? Hope all is well in the world, wherever part of the world you are. It's springtime and here in the hills, and I figured I'd give you guys an update on our garden and our gardens and the fruit and so on and so forth, and let you see what we're doing and how it's working so far. So let's get in it. This is the new part of the garden that we did. Well, let's start back first. Back right there is that's our shooting range area that goes up to the targets way in the back. These two here, these are rows of fruit trees that we put in last spring. And those over there where the fences are, those are berries. We just put some posts and ran some fence for the berries to climb up through. We do have plenty of wild blackberries, but we decided to go ahead and plant. I planted those blackberries there last spring, and they should give us some berries this year. Now every year we try to add something to our little fruit production thing, and this year we added raspberries. Right there behind the blackberries on the hillside there was where the other fence are. We added those raspberries. Don't think we'll get any raspberries this year, but try to add something every year to it. We also added back in the fall 2 peach trees, so that'll give us 2 peach trees, 2 apple trees, a cherry tree, a plum tree, and a pear tree. That's out there in our little fruit orchard. They are all self-pollinating, so we don't have to have multiple trees of each one, but we can always add on if we want to. You can see down there on the shooting range a couple of flat, wet spots that I discovered where the kids was a lot of the runoff from the water from the hill. So we tilled up 2 rows and we put squash and melons because they need a lot of water into those rows. And we did the same thing with these 2 rows right here. This row here we're going to put we put melons in, and this one over here we put eggplants and other kinds of summer and winter squashes to grow. Rather than just mowing grass, we might as well be trying to grow some food. So that's what we're doing. And like I say, this section down here, the fruit section, every year we're going to try to add something to it, whether it be more berries or another couple of fruit trees, or maybe clear out and put some more dirt down with some horse manure or some any kind of manure, and make another little garden plot out there as well. This is where the kids' clubhouse used to be. This area here, we've got it tilled up and planted. This that smaller section right down there is going to be where we're doing the 3 sisters gardening, where we put corn and beans and squash together and let them grow together. And we're going to do a video on that. We planted the corn in there already, and once the corn gets up about 3 or 4 inches high, and then we're going to plant the beans and the squash. That way they've got the corn will grow pretty quick, and it will give them a good structure. The back row here, we're going to grow okra and tomatoes in the next couple of rows, and then some peppers and squash up in here. In between these rows, I put those old bales of hay that we had around the greenhouse, and the reason that it's actually done a couple of things for me. One, naturally the hay in between the rows will compost down and help the soil. Once it gets, breaks down and gets worked into the dirt, it'll be very beneficial for the dirt as compost. An additional benefit that I found out that I didn't even think about was about a week ago we had a frost warning coming on. So rather than having to get plastic or anything like that to cover up the rows, what we did was we just went down each row and grabbed some of the hay and just pulled the hay up onto our plants, and it protected them very well. So that was an added benefit anyway for the this garden here, and I'm going to do that every year from now on. I'm going to get extra bales of just the cheap fodder hay. You should be able to get it for a couple dollars a bale. Put it in between the rows. Helps keep the weeds down in your row. It composts and helps the dirt. And in the early part of the spring, you can take the hay and pull it up over your plants to protect them from frost damage. So now we'll come back here to the backyard section. There's my little A-frame planter that I built. It's doing really well. It's light, it's mobile. We can move it out of the way when we mow. We've got strawberries growing on this side, and they're doing pretty good. And when these strawberries start putting off those little runner plants, we'll just snip the runner plants off and plant them up in the big bed. And then on this side, we've got herbs and lettuces and stuff like that growing. We lost the top one to some frost, so we had to replant lettuce in this top one, but they are, as you can see, they are starting to sprout and come up. So everything else is doing pretty good. And I really like this A-frame, man. It was really cheap to build, just with scraps that we had laying around, and it's working out pretty nice. You got to make sure, since it's not real deep, that guttering is not real deep, we got to water them every day, but that's okay, because, you know, we're always outside messing around anyway. So just make sure you keep them moist, and they will grow just fine. Here's this new potato barrel that we did. The potatoes are growing. I'm not gonna be able to see anything in here because I just put another couple inches of dirt on top, but they are growing in there, and we will keep you updated on how that works. Of course, the potato box here, as you can see, those potatoes in that box, they are going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. They are doing really, really well. We're 3 boards deep, so that is going to hopefully give us quite a few potatoes out of that box, and I'm really happy with how they're growing. Here along the back retaining wall, you can see we've got, these are our ever-bearing strawberry plants. They put strawberries on all summer long. And then we've got some more seedlings that we got going on. A lot of these seedlings here, melons and pepper plants, I found up on top of the hill there's a nice flat spot that's got a real good clearing in there, and I'm in the process of clearing that out. We're going to rake it up, and then we're going to plant some of this stuff here up there on that flat spot on top of the hill, because, you know, if we have the space to grow food, I'm going to try to utilize that. And then we come past the outdoor kitchen here. We got more plants that are ready to go into the ground this afternoon. We're going to put them some peppers and tomatoes. We got things that we kind of stagger them, that way we're always having stuff coming on at different times. The solar oven, I had a question about the sun oven. What was this tripod thing? This was my son Joshua used to have a drum set, and that was the stool that came with the drum set. Well, the drum set, you know, and little kids naturally didn't last very long. So all I did was I took the seat cushion off, where that seat cushion was, screwed this piece of plywood on here. This way we can easily rotate our oven to follow the sun, and it gives it a lot more sturdy place to put it, rather than it takes up less space. You can put that on a less flat space than you can the whole thing. So it's working out really well, and I'm glad I did it. So if you come across an old stool, take off the cushion part, screw on a piece of plywood, and you've got a stand. These are the June-bearing strawberries. They will put on strawberries through the early summer. The rest of the time they're going to put off runners. This is what I mean by the little runner plants. You see how they'll put out a little vine. They'll put out a vine from the center of the plant, and this here at the end will be another strawberry plant. So whenever we see these, since we have this room in the back now, we just kind of take it and push it to the back, to where they'll start running up that way into the new area. And with all the runners that all these plants put off, that should really fill in this whole entire strawberry patch. By next year, this will be double its size, and it'll be making lots of berries. Like I say, these will come on mostly all at once in the early summer. That's okay that you have a whole lot at once, because that'll give us a chance to make syrup and jellies and jams and freeze a bunch of them and all that kind of good stuff. So there's the bunny cages. This bunny here, she is out of that batch. We've got a batch of them there in the rabbit run. Keeping this one separate right now because she's a little sick. Not quite sure exactly what's wrong with her, but we've got her with her own little water bottle and her own little greens and some blackberry leaves, because blackberry leaves are good medicine for everything. That way we can try to see, you know, that make sure that she gets enough to eat and enough to drink on her own, and kind of keep an eye on her. Here's another batch. These are the mini Rex rabbits. These rabbits, these are the rabbits that we don't eat. These are the rabbits that we sell for pets, and you know, like I say, we'll sell these to people as pets for their children, or for people who want to start breeding rabbits as pets. And they're cuties, that's for sure. Alrighty, chickies. The chickies are getting big. They are 2 weeks. I've decided that 2 weeks from this past weekend is when we're going to start butchering those chickens, because of that reason right there. So they're starting to get big enough. I just want to give them another couple of weeks to put on that extra pound or two, so that we can get as much as we can. We have already separated the hens. You see, those are the hens that we had out of that group. Most of them were roosters, but we did get a few hens. So we added those hens in with the older ladies so that they can go ahead and get into the laying production with the other hens in the big chicken house. So now our lower garden down here in the boxes. This box here, we've got potatoes. We've got red potatoes in this one. And we've got rows of carrots next to it. So right here in the deep part of the box, we got potatoes. And then in the shallower part of the box, we've got some herbs, we've got some cilantro, we've got carrots, and all that kind of stuff growing up on this side of it. And then down here in the bottom box, we've got cabbages, which are doing really, really well. And then we've got gold potatoes, russet potatoes buried along with them inside. That way we've got one plant who's don't have a very deep root system, and then we've got another plant that has a very deep root system. So they're growing side by side and they're doing well. Over here in this lower part of the garden here, we've got this is where we're growing our beans at this year. With the beans are starting to sprout up, starting to look good. Once these beans get up to where they're about 4, 5, 6 inches high-ish, then we'll plant again. We'll plant a second planting of beans. That way we can rotate the beans. We pick some, and then a few weeks later we'll have more ready. That's how we're going to maximize this bottom garden this year. And that very back row back there, we've got sunflowers planted, and hopefully they're going to grow, and when they grow, that's just kind of free chicken food for us. And then of course we come back up here by the chicken house. I'm not going to get up the creek there, but right back in there on the other side of the fence, right there's a nice little flat spot that I've taken a couple of little trees out to where they can get some sun back there. And we have another garden patch back up the creek. You got to get to it. You got to walk up the creek in order to get to it, so that's why I'm not doing it. But we've got squashes and mainly squashes and stuff planted back there, pumpkins and some summer squash, some cushaw squashes, and so on and so forth back up in there, just to see how well they're going to grow. So there we have it. There's the home place update. There's the barn. There's where we have our meat rabbits up in there. And I'll give you an update on the meat rabbits. We got one of our San Juan does that should be kindling here in the next day or two. And yes, that's a deer hide that's drying on the side of the barn there. It is about ready to go into the menu wall. There's the goats. That's a little bit. And there's Dakota. How you doing, buddy? What are you doing, man? Scratch your head. Scratch your head. Hi, a little bit. Not in her tree today. And of course, there's Queen Mabel guarding everybody. Hi, Mabel. Yeah, I know you're a good girl. You're my buddy. So there you have it, y'all. That's a quick home place update. Oh, something else too. Inside my nail bags here in the shed, I leave my shed door open, and looky there, inside my nail bags, a little wren decided that's a great place to build a nest. So you know you haven't used your tool belt in a long time when you got birds building condos in it. So, alright guys, sorry the video was so long. I wanted to give you a quick home place update and let you see what we're doing and how things are progressing. Thanks y'all for watching. Thanks for all the support. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. God bless. The end. Buzz, buzz. The end.